When I first heard about a possible sequel to one of my favorite Pixar films, I was rather intrigued. I've known Pixar to bring us some fantastic movies in the past, and they had even proved their ability to pull off entertaining sequels with both Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3. I was hoping to see them do the same with Monsters Incorporated. Then I found out that the movie they had in mind was not actually a sequel, but a prequel, and that it would be about how Mike and Sully had first met at Monsters University. I have enjoyed the original Monsters Inc. for many years, and one of my favorite aspects of the original film had to do with the touching relationship between Sully and Boo. I think that is one of the major strengths of the movie, so when I discovered that there would only be two out of the three main characters taking part in Monsters University, I started to feel skeptical. I didn't feel all that interested to see these characters attending college, and knowing that one of the major strengths of the first film wouldn't be here, I didn't have high hopes for this prequel. Even when the movie came out, I heard mixed reviews from both critics and the general audience. Most of what I had heard, though, was that this prequel wasn't quite as good as the original. But I decided to put aside my hesitations and see for myself what Monsters University had to offer. And the movie was a lot of what I had expected to see. It certainly wasn't as good as the original Monsters Inc. There were familiar characters and even a few new ones that had some interesting moments, but I was really underwhelmed by what I was watching. The story seemed rather predictable. I can only remember a few moments where I was laughing at the jokes, and there wasn't any impressive amounts of animation that I hadn't already seen from Pixar before. I was ready to call this a step backwards for Pixar. That is, until I came to the last third of the film. The first two-thirds of the movie seemed rather mediocre compared to Pixar's other works, but when it came to the final act, I started to feel rather intrigued by what I saw. The characters were starting to surprise me. The humor was a lot more enjoyable. The story was so much more engaging. And the moral message they presented was actually much more of an adult message than for kids. A lot of the final act really surprised me, and I found myself enjoying it much more than I had expected. I won't give anything away, but I really think the last third of the movie is really worthwhile. The problem is that you have to get through more than two-thirds of a rather mediocre movie to get to the surprisingly good movie. I'd still say that Monsters University doesn't quite measure up to the original Monsters Inc., but it did manage to surprise me and ended up exceeding my expectations. Overall, I'd say it is worth seeing at least once. Whether or not this movie is something that I will be pulling out and watching again 10 years down the road, I really don't know, but I am glad that I saw it. For the characters, for the laughs, and particularly for the moral message they present. I really think this kind of lesson is very worthwhile, for kids and for adults. So, if you are still not sure whether Monsters University is worth seeing, I'd say that you should check it out. It may surprise you just as much as it surprised me. I am Dr. Wolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.